It is Wednesday, October 26th at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. This is my video journal. I'm Mitch Miller, and I am systematically challenging the United States military to a pistol duel or wrestling match if they have not produced these compressed air paintball dueling pistols. Prototypes at least. So let's start with that. We're moved on to Command Sergeant Major. If you've attained the rank of Command Sergeant Major in the United States military or its equivalent in any of its branches, I challenge you to a duel using non-lethal compressed air-powered paintball dueling pistols. Since we do not have the prototypes, we'll revert to wrestling matches. A wrestling match using scholastic rules. If you win the duel, you will delay me challenging the next rank down in the military by 6 months. You will also receive a piece of my photography, film, or painting art valued at millions of dollars. If I win the duel, you must find money in your budget, in your federal budget, and we're down in ranks now, so I don't even know if you have a budget, but you must find money to fund my smart weapons company that will produce these. First and foremost, will produce these compressed air non-lethal dueling pistols. If you cannot get approval of that budget, you must use some of your personal money to fund the company. In return, I will issue you a stock certificate giving you partial ownership of the company and or a piece of my art valued at millions of dollars. That's all I have to offer at this point. If you do not accept this duel, you are first and foremost a coward, and secondly, all the blood and death of any military action around the globe is on your hands. For not validating and justifying this form of modern warfare, a form of warfare that values marksmanship and hand-to-hand combat skills, the basic skills taught to any military personnel. Instead of hiding behind control panels, relying on intelligence agencies to deliver you information on terrorists so that you can just press a button and kill them with a robotic flying death machine, rather than being cowards, how about you look your opponent in the eye, you say, I challenge you to a duel, here are the terms, you execute that duel or a wrestling match, and the issue is resolved, and you part ways knowing who was the victor and who was not, and you relinquish territory accordingly. You give up whatever the terms of the duel was. In my treaty, I prescribe movements of territory because that's what it all boils down to. People want land. They want property and land. It's capitalism. They want property, land, and tangible items. So that's what it basically all boils down to. Now some of it is vendettas and grudges that people held for past wars and battles and conflicts where family members died, friends died, and now they hate that other person. Some of it is, I don't like your religion, I hate your religion, I hate your ethnicity. I mean, that's the other thing. But as far as past wars and conflicts, if you adopt this new peace treaty, then the grudges could start to dissipate because you can solve it in a non-lethal way instead of continuing the killing. Anyhow, what I'm here to talk about today, I was walking down the street and I noticed somebody stepped in a big pile of dog poop and tracked it down the sidewalk. And it reminded me of a program I might have talked about before that I wanted to enact as mayor, but maybe not to a second and third term till people are ready for it. But it has to do with genetics, and the supercomputers will appreciate this. Because we are entering into an era with genetics where you can, with the CRISPR program, you can edit certain genes out of living organisms to give them certain qualities, and it's only a matter of time before parents edit genes in their kids. Now you can see how this could be abused. You could make them more docile instead of using narcotics like Risperdal. More docile, not question authority, so on and so forth, and then you could produce a race of genetically altered humanoids, basically, that do your bidding. There's talk about growing extra livers and growing extra organs in certain places for when people, when those organs fail, they have a transplant ready, growing those in petri dishes. It's insanity. The regulations can't keep up. The government can't keep up with technology, and it's going to get out of hand if it already hasn't. So, talking about genetics, how do we fight back? Simply, my idea is this: every city has a genetics program, and they say the only way we want people genetically tagged, genetically identified is with crimes. So rape kits, tracing genetics for murders, things like that, which is why you do it at the city level, because it starts with the police forces. Now, having a nationwide database is somewhat acceptable for the FBI and things like that to solve crimes. People can flee out of cities and out across borders. But number one, it's okay to use genetics to trace crime as long as you have and you can see how this could be abused in underdeveloped nations to put away terrorists and enemies of the state. A very honest and, I think, open and transparent system of doing that. Number two, the second thing a city has a genetics program in is dogs. Every dog owner must register their dog and have a genetic sample in a database. So instead of the federal database, we have a mini database city by city. And you say, we don't want people to alter genes in their kids. We don't want people to do this, do that, because we as a city, we said this is the only logical way to use genetic technology is to register dogs, and dog owners are licensed with the registry, and anytime a pile of dog shit is sitting around, dog poop is sitting around on a sidewalk anywhere in the city, an animal control agent, a park ranger, even a police officer can have a special device that takes a sample of that material, that dog poop, and feeds it into the genetic registry, and it pops up whose dog it is, who the owner is, and a fine is issued for them not cleaning up after their dog. Now, that's my proposal, because if you start with animals, nobody cares about animals that much. So you can, if you form this system with dogs and dog owners, I mean, dog owners love their dogs, but ultimately they also control and train their dogs to do tricks and things like that, to be obedient, which is good. If you have a city, you want them to be obedient, not attack people. It's important to train your dog. What I'm saying is, if you have an animal database of genetic registry, then you can see city by city how that would be abused, because people can vote on how that should be used. And we draw the line and just say, we just want to know whose dog poop this is. But you could see how it could get out of hand in a more liberal city and a more conservative city, how they alter the program to, or what the fine levels are, what the penalties become for this tried and true registry that cut and dry, there's no doubt in our mind that's whose dog this was. So that's, so you can see, and then so we don't require every human in the United States to register with the genetic registry. It's just people who commit crimes, and then they take a sample, and only certain crimes. So that database exists for basically reoffending criminals, to be able to identify if they committed another crime. And I'm not saying we should ever require, you know me, I'm against technology for the most part, so I don't think we should ever require everyone to register with some kind of federal genetic registry. But right now they're already doing it. It's required if you commit a crime. So the next step would be to require everyone to do that. But if you have the dog registry, you test the water. You can say, we required every dog owner to license and register their dog. And does it expand to cats? Does it expand to other animals? Why did you do that? The only animals on our streets are dogs and stray cats. So, you know, it's a good way to test the water and see how it'll be abused before you just blanket require everyone to register their DNA on some kind of federal database, which is the direction I believe we're going, because we're so afraid of crime that we want to solve all crimes. We're obsessed with solving crimes. I mean, it's the media playing into it, so I think we should be cautious. Anyhow, that's my idea. I know I said I'm going into porn. I'm waiting until, I've decided to wait until at least January before I reach out to service workers, sex workers, about my idea, because it doesn't look like I'm going to have to work at all. If I'm taking a delayed payment program at work, so I don't think I'm going to have to work at all in January, February, or March. So I'll be able to snowboard, I'll be able to be in Utica when I want, and I'll be able to pursue this new endeavor. I want to be ready if these workers are ready to launch this thing. I want to be fully at their service so that we can get this off the ground quickly and move on it quickly, since none of my other platforms moved at all, really, or very quickly. The second reason I'm delaying this is that Brian Schultz's wife, Laura Boyd, Hillary's former boss, we were at a campfire the other night on Sunday night, and I sent her my Respiration documentary short, and she's a filmmaker. She's worked in the industry. She's currently a professor at Point Park, and she was talking to me, and she wants to make at least a short documentary, more concise and animated and visual piece with me. But after hearing some of my stories about my investigations, about my travels to Europe, about seeking asylum, about my paintings, she thinks that we could make a whole full 2-hour documentary just about me. So that's great news. If she wants to do it, it might take us a year, it might take us 2 years, but it's a project that finally somebody said, I want to help you, I want to make a project about you, with you, in coordination with you. And so that's kind of let me push this pornography type situation back some and said, let's take a step back and see what this looks like and how quickly we move on this. So that's where I'm at now. Thanks for watching, and join me next Wednesday for another segment. I don't know what I'll talk about then. Something, maybe I'll see another pile of dog poop and think of something else. So thanks for watching.